What's up, everybody? It's Average Escapes here. So the footage you're seeing now, and I'm recording this over as I rewatch it, because I don't really remember what happened. I just know I did a bunch of quests and got some good levels. After I finished editing this video, it came out to less than 3 minutes and 40 seconds. It's 3:39 if you're actually wondering this footage itself. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to talk about what happened and why I was inactive for 7 months, which is when this footage is from. It's from February 2021, 7 months ago at this point. So the timeline is kind of important here, so I want to give you a little backstory if you haven't been watching my videos. Maybe you don't remember who I am or what I've done in the past for work. I graduated from college with an English degree. Yeah, I know English, useless degree, pointless. No, actually, it wasn't. It got me into digital marketing. It got me my first role as a content writer. And from there, I actually moved into focusing more on search engine optimization. And I started my own little business where I worked from home, and I just got clients in various industries, ranging from, let's go, I don't want to give out any names or specifics here, manufacturing, social media, management, automotive writing. I mean, if you name it, I've probably done it at this point. So I did that for about 5 years. I worked ridiculous hours. You know, obviously it's my own business. I'm responsible for its success, essentially. I have no employees to fall back on or blame if something messes up. Essentially what happened is I got burnt out. And that was when I decided to go to school for EMT. I got burnt out in May 2019. At that time, my biggest contract was up in June. So I contacted my local fire department, who told me to contact my local rescue squad about becoming an EMT, which is something I've always had an interest in doing. I'll tell you right now, I was kind of blinded by what I thought it was versus what it actually is. And in the end, it wasn't something I was really all that invested in. Let's back up here because I'm getting ahead of myself. June 2019, my contract's up. In September 2019, my local EMS agency was hosting an EMT basic course, which basic is the lowest, and then there's advanced, which is like the middle section between a basic and a paramedic. And I had to do a certain number of course hours, complete a certain number of coursework, pass a midterm, pass a final, pass a practical where they do a skills test, and then pass the national registry. That's what it is in Ohio. I know in New York it's a little different. In New York, I don't think you have to take the national registry, you just have to pass the state test. So I went through the course. In March 2020, I got my certification. I passed everything first try, flying colors. I missed a single point in my practicals. I did really well overall. And then as time went on, things got crazier. First of all, we found out my wife was pregnant. This was around January 2020, and that child was ultimately born in August 2020. I created this channel on October 20th, 2020. So my first kid was around 2 months old at the time. And it was becoming very clear that as I was trying to work through the EMT stuff and become a full-time EMT, because my local EMS agency has certain restrictions that you have to pass and everything before you can become, a full-time EMT that doesn't need, like, training or anything. So what ultimately happened was it became clear that 12-hour shifts were not going to work out very well with a kid and a wife working full-time. This kind of put me in a bit of a pickle, because if you remember I said that biggest contract, go, in June 2019. So it was getting a little rough. I had invested a lot of time and a lot of energy into becoming an EMT, and now it looks like, wait, this isn't going to work. So I was kind of stuck. And then, funnily enough, we find out this year that our second child is due in November. So November 2021 will be the birth of our second child. Our first child is over a year old at this point. And oddly enough, it's kind of worked out. I ended up quitting EMT. I'm not an EMT anymore. I'm not an EMT at my local agency. I do still have my certification, so if I wanted to go back to it, I could. I don't think I will. I also don't think I'm going to maintain that. If you aren't aware of how becoming an EMT and maintaining your certification works, you have to get what's called CEs, which are continuing education or continued education credits throughout 2 years. And my 2 years are up in March 2022. I have most of my credits, so if I wanted to, I could, but with 2 kids, I don't think it's going to be possible. I also still work in digital marketing. I have a few smaller clients that I still work with. So I've gotten way off topic. Let's go back here for a minute. During my EMT course, I interviewed with a local digital marketing company and was offered a role in content development. If you aren't aware what content development is in digital marketing, it's basically the writing section of it. That's what I would have covered. So if you see like the copy on a website, like essentially the writing that tries to sell you something or tries to entice you to click on something, that's what I would have done. I've been doing that for years. I have multiple websites of my own that generate some passive income. If you don't know what that is, I would just suggest you start looking up affiliate marketing. You might actually find something you're interested in and want to pursue. Who knows? But because I was so invested in becoming an EMT, I declined their offer, their job offer in content development, which was fine because, like I said, I was burnt out. I don't regret declining that offer. I'm sure they're a great company. I wish them all the best. As an EMT, I didn't have any issues with patients. I didn't have any issues with blood. I didn't have any issues with vomit, feces, urine, you name it, bones, chainsaws. I mean, we had some interesting runs. I wish everyone all the best. I'm not going to pursue digital marketing to a full-time extent anymore. I'm not going to pursue becoming an EMT to a full-time extent anymore. My wife has actually moved up job-wise 3 times, and then she moved sideways again. So she makes about double what she did 2 years ago. And that has essentially kind of made up for my loss of income rather, which is how I was able to make that initial move into EMT without us experiencing a massive financial burden. But at the same time, we had 1 kid, and I'm obviously a first-time father. I didn't know what I was doing for the most part, but I think it's worked out pretty well. If you're worried about becoming a parent for the first time, you'll figure it out. You have to. It's not a choice. Like, you'll figure it out. When you're forced to do something, like, your mind will figure it out. So, I mean, ultimately, that combination of things is why I haven't posted for 7 months. I've had the footage for episodes 9 and 10, and I've just kind of been sitting on it because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I know someone actually commented on my 8th episode and asked me, like, they wanted episode 9, clearly. I mean, and I'm sorry if you're that person. I'm sorry you waited that long. I didn't mean to abandon you or leave you hanging on the hook there. I just had some stuff in life that I had to figure out. So ultimately, I didn't choose to do EMT. I didn't choose to do digital marketing. Childcare has been my main priority. And at the same time, I've had a lot of stuff to figure out on my own, internally and mentally. And now that I'm kind of sure of where I'm at, I'm going to start posting again. I'm going to start playing RuneScape again. Like, I haven't even logged into RuneScape in 7 months until pretty much that intro to episode 9. Anyway, in this video, I'm way over how long this video is supposed to be, so I'll probably throw in some footage of me doing Below Ice Mountain or something. I don't know. It'll be filler footage. It could even be from a different account. I don't know. So as for what I want to do with this channel in the future, I want to do some more creative stuff. I want to make some community suggestions, like new mini games, revitalize some old content, because this game has so much good old content that's just no longer played, no longer touched because it's not the meta. Which is really lame, by the way. When did we stop playing Castle Wars because we couldn't get top tier experience rates from it? Come on. That's such a waste. I obviously want to continue the From Scratch to Max series. I would also like to start an Iron Man series as like a little side thing. It wouldn't be like a whole long deal, but I've never had an Iron Man before, and it's something I am particularly interested in attempting, especially with Group Iron Man currently being pulled. I'm going to be honest, I don't think that's going to pass. This community is just too... how do I put this without offending anybody? They don't like change, but at the same time, if this game doesn't change, it's not going to continue to exist into the near future. Like, if Group Iron Man doesn't pass and a lot of these major updates stop like passing and they don't continue updating the game essentially and revitalizing. Like, obviously 117 did a great job on the HD client. That looks beautiful. That plugin, well done, man. But the game needs something. It needs to continue to be developed. You need to let the mods continue to let their vision shine through, I guess. There's a lot that could be added to this game that would do the community a lot of good. But if that segment of the community that says, no, we don't want change, or we don't want anything to do with the wilderness, or we don't want anything to do with Iron Man, we don't want any updates for Slayer. Like, okay, Slayer is kind of a loaded gun at this point, right? Slayer gets a lot of updates, or they did in the past. But this game needs to evolve at the same time. Not to the point where RuneScape 3 completely took over and it changed the face of the game forever. But there needs to be new content, there needs to be some changes. And community backlash against every single major update because they don't like change, it's not gonna last. Like, this game will, I give this game 3 years if no major updates pass at this point. And there's a train going by. I don't know if you can hear that. But back to what I want to do with this channel. I'll talk more about what I would like to see from the game and everything, what from the devs at this point, what I think the community needs to do and focus on in the future. And since I've been playing RuneScape for roughly 15 years at this point, I feel like I have a good insight on that. What I want to do with this channel is do some more creative stuff, make suggestions. I'd also like to have a chat series where I kind of go over something in the game or about the game, about the mods, about the community, anything like that. Like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into it. I'd also, like I said, like to do an Iron Man series. I actually started recording that recently. It's not going to be like 10-minute videos or anything. It's going to be like a month's worth of content into one video, so it might be a 20-25-minute video, I'd say. It's just a rough estimate. I also don't know how to play an Iron Man, so how much of that is just going to be rambling and me trying to figure things out? Who knows? And if Group Iron Man does pass, I might try and talk some friends into doing it. My wife liked the HD content, so she might jump back on RuneScape. Who knows? I see I'm approaching the 15-minute mark on before this is edited, so I'm kind of just going to cut it there. Long story short, I'm back. I'll try and play as much as I can, but with a child, and I still do some digital marketing on the side. I have my own websites to manage. My wife's also pregnant, so I have to take care of the house. There's stuff to do around it. I'll do my best. Just put it that way. And if you're gonna ask more of me than my best, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's it for me today. I hope you all had a great 7 months where I was gone. I hope you continue having good days in the future. Get out there. Enjoy the HD client. 117 clearly put a lot of time into it. A happy gaming. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.